Welcome students for today's class. Today's topic is email protocols and some of the chatting protocols also we will discuss today. First one is post office protocol version 3. So already we saw one protocol related with email protocol, that is the SMTP protocol. Here now we are going to see the post office protocol version 3. It is maximum used at the receiver side. Post office protocol version 3 and IMAP protocol both are used at the receiver side only. So it is a widely used method of receiving email which receives and holds the email for an individual until they pick it up. So it will be there at the receiver side. Using this protocol, POP3 protocol or IMAP protocol only, the receiver machine will receive the email. So the SMTP server receives the email on behalf of every host. So at the sender side, if you see, SMTP server will be there. So that server will be holding all the, every host's mail will be located at the SMTP server, and the respective host then can interact with that SMTP server to retrieve the messages by using the client server protocol called POP3. So for this we will see in a diagram in a neat way. Next, each POP3 mail server has a different address which is usually provided to an individual by their web hosting company. So if you want to access your mail messages, you need to have a username and password. You need to have a proper mail ID. So this address must be entered into the email software. So if you have Gmail or Yahoo Mail, in that software you need to enter this address so that the software can connect effectively with the protocol. So the individual receiving the POP3 email will have to input their username and the password in order to successfully receive the mail. So both at the sender side also and receiver side also, if you enter the username and password, only you can able to access your mail, emails or any messages. So normally port numbers are going to be assigned for the all the protocols. So here port 110 is used for unsecured communication. See, for POP3, port 110 is used as an unsecured communication. This is the default port number. Another port number is also used, that is port number 995. This is an encrypted port, that is for secured communication. We can use this port number 995 for POP3 protocol. Next, already I said we can discuss that SMTP server, how it is holding and how the other hosts are going to interact with that SMTP server through this POP3 or IMAP protocol we will see here. So this is the sender machine. From the sender machines, mail is created and that mail is forwarded to SMTP protocol to the SMTP server. So here the server name is Gmail. That is Bob's mail server, Gmail server. In Gmail server, the messages, whatever messages is received from the client side is going to be located here in this SMTP server, and any host which want to receive the mail will interact with the SMTP server through the POP3 or IMAP protocol. So at the receiver side we have the POP3 or IMAP protocol. Through this protocol SMTP is interacted, SMTP server is interacted, and then the proper message is received from that SMTP server to the Yahoo server. So through that Yahoo server, it is forwarded to the receiver side machine. So in the receiver side only we have this POP3 or IMAP protocol. So both the protocol are used conjunction in order to receive the mail. Okay. Next, what is the advantages of POP3 protocol? It is extremely common among the most mail servers. So maximum all mail servers are going to use this POP3 protocol only. It is a simple protocol and it is having high success rate. That means the maximum mails will be received in a proper way and it has only minimum errors. So many popular email programs including Microsoft Outlook also automatically designed to work with this POP3 protocol. So these are the advantages of this POP3 protocol. Next, one more protocol which is used at the same receiver side only, that is Internet Message Access Protocol. This is used in conjunction, that is combined way. It is working with the POP3 protocol for accessing emails on a remote web server, that is SMTP server, and downloads them to the client machine. So from SMTP server it is used to download the mails, whichever mails are received from the sender side, that will be downloaded and it will be sent to the local client system. So IMAP supports the multiple applications, even multiple clients and locations are going to be supported with the help of this IMAP. By default, which port number is used here is 143 is used for IMAP protocol, and that is a default protocol port number. and it is a non-encrypted port number. Next, encrypted port number is used for secured communication, that is 993. Port number 993 for IMAP, it is used for secure communication. Next, this is one diagram which is representing how the IMAP protocol is working. As like we have seen in POP3 diagram, at the receiver side machine only this POP3 protocol or IMAP protocol is used in order to receive the contents or mails from the SMTP server to the remote machine, that is the recipient machine. Okay. Next protocol is, so totally 3 email protocols we have completed. Next we are going to see about remote access protocol. So how to access the remote machines. If you are locating in one machine, if you are sitting in one machine and doing some work, if you want to access some files which is not there in your system, or if you want to access some software which is not available in your computer, if you want to use your friend computer, you can go for this telnet protocol, remote login, that is only called remote access protocol. You can access the remote machine in order to make use of some softwares or some files which are located at the remote machine. So for that, this telnet protocol is very helpful. So telnet is main internet protocol for creating connection with the remote machine. It allows you to connect to remote computers called remote hosts over TCP/IP networks such as the internet. So without internet, this remote access protocol will not be useful. Once your telnet client establishes the connection to the remote host, your client becomes the virtual terminal. That means you will not able to sit physically at the remote location. You will be sitting in your place and you are accessing the remote machine. So it allows you to communicate with the remote host from your computer with whatever opportunities you may have been granted to the specific application and data on that host computer. That means whatever applications or data you are going to use in the host computer, you will be allotted with some privileges, some access privileges you will be having, either read permission or write permission, that like you will be allotted with some privileges. So you can make use of that privileges in order to access the specific application. That means specific softwares you can access, or some specific data or files you can access on that remote host computer. So that is the advantage of this remote machine, remote access protocol or telnet. So here you can see in a diagrammatic way. So telnet client here. So you are using this computer in order to access the remote machine. So how the remote machine is going to access via your computer means, so you need to establish a connection with the help of the IP address of that remote machine. For that, telnet server is helpful for you. So through the internet, your client is connected with the telnet server. So in that way, the remote machine is going to be viewed in your computer screen, and you can make use of your keyboard and mouse and monitor for accessing that remote machine, or in order to work in the remote machine. So popularly used two softwares are Arrow Admin and TeamViewer software. You can use it for making use of that remote machine, accessing that remote machines. Next. So what are the advantages of telnet? So telnet is most likely to be used by the program developers. Normally software developers, they will use this maximum, they will use this telnet protocol, and anyone who has need to use a specific applications or data located at a particular host computer, they will make use of this telnet protocol. And it gives the user the opportunity to be on one computer system and do work on the another system. So that means you are sitting in your system, you are using in your system, and you are doing work in the another system, so which may be anywhere across the globe. So overall worldwide, once your computer is connected with the internet, you can make use of this opportunity in order to access the remote machine from your computer. And telnet provides an error-free connection, which is always faster than the latest conventional modems. So it is providing error-free connection in order to connect to the remote machine. So next protocol what we are going to see is chat protocol. So for chatting, we will use one protocol called IRC, and VoIP is another protocol for voice related chats. Okay, so chat protocol, the name is IRC, Internet Relay Chat. So what is meant by chat? A real-time informal communication over the internet is called chatting. So through the help of internet, if you are communicating in an informal way, that is only called chatting. Okay. So chat program normally we will use for doing a chatting. So the chat program will use the protocol called the IRC protocol. So example for chat softwares or chat programs are AOL, Instant Messenger, Campfire, Internet Messenger, MSN Messenger and Yahoo Messenger and Skype, all those WhatsApp, all those things are called chat programs or chat protocol, chat softwares, okay, are some commonly used chat programs. In order to chat, the user should have an account on a chatting program. So in the chat software, you need to have an account in order to make use of the chat software. A phone call is a voice-based chat, while online chat is a textual conversation. So you can make a chat either voice-based or a textual text-based. Okay. So normally, phone call based chat is for that we will use this voice over IP protocol. For text-based conversation, we will use the protocol name IRC Internet Relay Chat protocol we will use. So here are some examples of chat programs, instant messaging softwares and all located here. First one, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Skype, AAM, ICQ, Telegram, WeChat, Line. These are some of the instant messaging softwares. So nowadays popularly used softwares are first two only. First three softwares, maximum all the peoples are making use of this. And WhatsApp uses the extensible messaging presence protocol, that is XMPP protocol is used by the WhatsApp to exchange the data between the users. The protocol is decentralized, that means it is a distributed one and it is a secure one, and flexibility is also there in the protocol XMPP. Okay, this is used in the WhatsApp messaging software. So next is Internet Relay Chat. This is one of the chat protocol used for chatting. It provides a chatting between a group or between two individuals. It is based on the client server model. So here IRC client sends and receives messages to and from the IRC server. So IRC server only transport the message from one client to the another client. The IRC server is linked to many other servers to form IRC network. It identifies every user through a unique nickname. IRC server is only going to identify every user through unique nickname. Each user is assigned a unique channel in case of multiple discussions are taking place. So this is a simple diagram for understanding internet relay chat. So four peoples are communicating with each other through this IRC protocol. Next is VoIP, Voice over Internet Protocol. It enables the transfer of voice using a packet switched network. So there are two ways we can transfer the messages from the sender to the receiver side. First switching technique is called a circuit switching technique, and next one is packet switching techniques. So in packet switching technique, normally the message is broken down into packets. So small pieces called the packets. That packets are going to be forwarded and it is going to be stored in one particular temporary memory location. And whenever a connection is established to the server side or recipient side machine, immediately that stored messages will be forwarded. So like that, it will be kept in some locations for a temporary period, and then it will be forwarded to the remote machine or recipient machines. That way the packet switching network will work. So transfer of voice using packet switched network, and by using this VoIP software, phone calls can be done using the standard internet connections. And this method of making phone calls is much cheaper than the conventional way. So normal way how we are making phone calls, compared to that, this way of making phone calls using this VoIP protocol is very cheaper one. And because the service of telecommunication company is not involved here in this VoIP protocol. So what are the three different methods of VoIP service? So we can use here ATA method or IP phones or computer to computer. These are the three methods of using this VoIP service. That means VoIP protocols are involved between computer to your phone to computer, and IP phone to another IP phone or another computer, and computer to computer. So in three ways we can use this VoIP service, that we will see in a diagrammatical way. What is meant by ATA? ATA stands for analog to digital converted. It is used to connect the telephone device to the computer. So normally ATA is used to connect telephone device. So sender side you will have a telephone and receiver side you will have a computer. Okay. So telephone normally it will take which kind of signals? Analog signals. And computer will receive only the digital signals, will understand only the digital signals. So that means analog to digital conversion is required here, because the sender side, the contents are sent as an analog signal, and receiver side the signals are going to be received as a digital signals. So it takes the analog signals from the phone and then converts them to digital signals. So in that ATA case, this VoIP protocol is used in order to transmit the phone messages, phone calls to digital signals. Okay, here you can see at the left side you can use the three different devices. That is, first one personal computer, second one VoIP phone, and third one normal IP phone or VoIP adapter. So this is connected, these three devices are connected through DSL or cable modem to the internet, and to the internet to another personal computer or telephone. That means from personal computer to telephone, or PC to PC, or VoIP to telephone, or VoIP to personal computer. Through three different methods we can use this VoIP protocol in order to do the conversation. That is, communication can be taken place in a voice based or a text based through this VoIP. Okay, some of the free internet VoIP calls, no, we can make using this PopText website, and citrustel.com website. We can go for using this, making the phone calls. Okay, so ATA we have discussed. Next is IP phones. IP phones appear much like an ordinary telephone or cordless phone. They are directly connected to the router or the LAN. They have all the hardware and software necessary right on the board to handle the IP call. So whatever softwares and hardware required for making the call or through the internet, everything will be available in the same phone or IP phone itself. So IP phones are sometimes called VoIP telephones, or SIP phones, or soft phones. We can call the VoIP telephones in two different ways, that is SIP phones or soft phones. Next, computer to computer. So from one computer to another computer, if you want to make conversation using this VoIP protocol, it is the most and easy and simplest way to use the VoIP protocol. The basic hardware requirements needed here is, okay, first one, computer we need, and internet we need to have, and in the computer we need to attach the speaker and microphone in order to send and receive the messages, voice messages we can receive. The only cost involved with computer to computer VoIP is the monthly ISP fee. That is, internet service provider. For internet alone you need to pay the fee for using computer to computer communication method. So thank you students. With this your today's class is over. So next class we will see some of the wireless communication protocols like GPRS, GSM and WLL, and some more technologies related with the Wi-Fi and WiveMax. All these topics we will discuss in the future class. Thank you.